All right, shalom, shalom. Call halayim la Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Much peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect pushing this word in truth and sincerity of heart. Shalom. This is the brother of top back again through the spirit with another lesson. And Lord, in this lesson edifying. The title of this lesson is going to be Dependency on the Government. Dependency on the Government. And I went into the chat GPT and I typed in let's see. Can you give me an example of people dependent on government and it turns bad? It says absolutely. Here are a few historical and modern examples where people's dependency on government ended up turning bad or harmful. Number one is the fall of the Soviet Union. It says what happened. The Soviet Union promised citizens food, housing, jobs, and healthcare through a centralized system. How it turned bad. The heavy dependency on government planning led to food shortages, poor quality goods, and little incentive to innovate or work hard. When the government collapsed in 1991, millions were left with nothing. No safety net, no private property to fall back on. Lesson. This is the lesson you learn. Over dependency on government control can destroy self-sufficiency and create chaos if the system fails. And it's better to be self-sufficient. Of course, you have to modern day examples of being self-sufficient. If you live in the cities, you have a job, or you're working, providing money to pay for your bills or to buy food or to buy the necessities that you need. You have a job. Most people that depend on the government, they don't have jobs, or they depend on certain services. They may not have jobs, or they may have a job, but it's just not paying enough, if you will. It's still under that threshold so they can get benefits. Some people that get government assistance in America, they don't have jobs. They don't have, they just depend solely on the government, and the services that are provided. Section 8, welfare, food stamps. People depend on these programs because it's always going to be there, but not as of lately. The example number 3 says, Native American reservations in the United States. What happened? After being displaced from their land, many Native American tribes were dependent on federal assistance programs. How it turned bad. Reliance on government welfare and strict control from the Bureau of Indian Affairs led to poverty, unemployment, and loss of traditional independence. Lesson. Forced dependency can weaken communities and strip away self-determination. And that's exactly what Esau wants. He wants you to depend on this government, on Big Daddy government, so he can snatch the rug rack from under you and watch a lot of you people suffer. Because a lot of you, he wants to get rid of. They call you useless eaters, man. Useless eaters. You never be useless eaters in the eyes of the elite. So they're getting you hooked on this system, like you hooked on drugs, and then they're going to take it from you and watch that people going to have withdrawals. They're going to crash out. It's going to create chaos. You want to drive the people into chaos, take away the food, man. Because back's going to get to touching, and people going to lose their shit. As you can see, people talking about they going to steal, They're just making rant videos about what they're going to do. People are ready to crash out. So let's get another example. Verse 4, it says welfare dependency in some Western countries. What happened? Some long-term welfare systems in Western nations were designed to help people in need. How it turned bad. In certain areas, generations became reliant on government aid, leading to cycles of poverty, lack of motivation to work, and loss of personal ambition. Assistance is valuable short-term, but permanent dependency can trap people in stagnation. See, assistance is valuable short term. You're supposed to use these programs short term till you can get on your feet, until you can get yourself in a better financial situation, or until you can get you a job. You might have to apply for certain assistance just for a short period of time. And once you get back to where you need to be, some of these programs are going to automatically shut off anyways, because once the food stamps find out you're making a certain amount of money, they're going to turn it off. So a lot of people try to stay below that line or that amount of money that you have to make in order to stay on food stamps, just so they can keep getting food stamps and still making money. They try to not work as many hours so they can stay below that line. But now people are feeling me in terrible case now, man, because short these assistance really supposed to be short, is valuable for a short period of time, man. A month, maybe two, till you can get on your feet. That's how you're supposed to use these things. But a lot of people don't want to give it up, man. 5, Communist China's Great Leap Forward. It says, what happened? Mao Zedong's government took over farms and industries to modernize China. People depended entirely on the state for food. How it turned bad. Poor planning and propaganda led to one of the worst famines in history. An estimated 30 million people starved to death. When government takes control, the lesson is, when government takes control of resources, mistakes can become national disasters. So, and there's also, I went to get some modern day examples, and I wanted to read one of them, which is the Flint, Michigan water crisis. It says, what happened? The government took over Flint's water management to save money. How it turned bad. Mismanagement led to lead poisoning in the city's water. Many residents trusted the government's water was safe and didn't have the means to check it themselves. When citizens have no control and depend on government oversight, corruption or neglect can directly harm lives. I'm gonna read this example. CV, the jab, the CV, the CV-19, relief dependency. It says what happened during the pandemic. Many government paid citizens direct. Many governments paid citizens direct stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. How it turned bad. Some people became reliant on this support, and when it ended, inflation, labor shortages, and economic instability followed. The lesson: emergency support is important, but prolonged dependency can make recovery slower, and reduce motivation to rejoin the workforce. Social housing failures. What happened? Government housing programs were meant to provide affordable homes for the poor. How it turned bad. Poor maintenance, bureaucracy, and crime turned many housing projects into dangerous and neglected areas. Examples are parts of Chicago, New York, and Baltimore. When the government provides without proper management or accountability, dependency can lead to poor living conditions. And we see what's going on in the projects, of America. So I'm gonna get some precepts. Over dependency on the government can cause disaster. Jeremiah 17:5. Thus said Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from Yahweh. So a lot of our people, they trust in Esau. The scriptures tell you never trust an enemy. We use these programs. We don't depend on them. We don't live and die by them, because it's controlled by the government, and they can shut it off at any time. Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So these programs were set up to help you, to be assistance, but a lot of people take advantage of it, and they become overly dependent on it, and they suffer in the end. And that's what you're seeing. This is playing out in living color right now. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Now I was forcing people that trusted in the government and these programs to find alternative ways to earn money. And a lot of women are getting on the internet saying they're going to be selling stuff, and you know what I'm talking about, man. They're going to become a harlot, So that's another, let's see. Those are the 3 main scriptures I had. That is another example of how bad things are going to be in America. Proverbs 3 and 5. It's trust in Yahweh with all thine heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. A lot of people are gonna lean onto their own understanding, and it's gonna cause them to be destroyed because they're gonna say, "Oh, look, you don't give it to me, I'll take it." You know, nobody is saying, "Oh, I'm gonna depend on the Lord," or "I'm gonna have faith in that the Lord will provide." No, they're not coming in that type of spirit. They come in the spirit, "Give it to me, I'm gonna take it." Matthew 6 and 25. It says, "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body raiment?" You see, a lot of people worry about these things. Oh, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear. You know, all of these things are important to a simple-minded person. But we got our eyes on the bigger fish, man. Yahweh don't told us not to worry about these things. "Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they?" You see, so the heavenly Father provides for the animals. He can provide for us. You know, so we ain't got to worry about these things, man. But if they don't have that security, if they don't have that that the Most High on their side, then they're not gonna be. They're not gonna be. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, they're not gonna be in the same mindset as the elect will. Psalms 118, in verse 6. "Yahweh is on my side; I will not fear. What can man do unto me? Yahweh taketh my part with them that help me. Therefore shall I see my desire upon